Installing the Flutter development environment is much easier on Windows than any other platform, but unfortunately you can only develop and test mobile apps for Android apps. If you want to develop for iOS, you'll need a Mac. Now there are other ways to build an iOS app, in that case if you don't have a Mac, but that's beyond the scope of this course. Do note, at the time of this recording, I'm using Windows 10 to install Flutter. By the time you are watching this, or this could be a year down the road, Windows 11 will probably have been released. If you are installing on Windows 11, make sure to check the official documentation. Let's get started.
We're going to install Flutter on Windows. The first thing you need to do is open your browser and head over to the Flutter Development Center. You can find it at flutter.dev. Click on the blue button that says Get Started. You'll see the install options. Click on Windows. Now, you'll see a rather lengthy list of instructions. Remember, if something doesn't work when following along with the demo, defer to the official documentation. Start by downloading the Flutter SDK by pressing the blue button. Navigate to the zip file and unpack it. This may take a while. At this point, drag it to a place on your hard drive. I'm going to place it in the root directory of my C drive. Next, I need to add the path to Flutter. In the Start menu, type env and select Edit Environmental Variables. Under the user variables, look for a path entry. If you don't see one called path, then click the Add button to add an entry. Otherwise, select the entry and click Edit. Add the path for your Flutter installation. Now click OK. At this point, launch your terminal by searching for CMD. Click on the Command Terminal app to launch it. Now to test out Flutter by typing the following. Okay, next up is Android Studio. Head on over to developer.android.com/studio. Click the button that reads Download Android Studio. Android Studio is a powerful developer environment. It also makes for a great alternative to developing Flutter apps. Download and install Android Studio. It may take some time, but once you have it installed, start it up and finish the installation. Once done, you'll be prompted with a dialog. We're not going to create a new project. Rather, click the More Actions button and select the AVD Manager option. The AVD is your Android Virtual Device Manager. This is where you can create different emulators. Whereas a simulator tries to simulate a device environment, an emulator will emulate the actual CPU calls. The result is your code should run like it is on a device, with the downsides of your emulated code just being slower. With the dialog open, click the Virtual Device button. We're going to create a phone. Choose a Pixel 5. Then download and select your system image. Under Emulated Performance, select Hardware GLES20 to enable hardware acceleration. Keep in mind, you can create many different emulators. Once you are done, give it a name and click Finish. Your emulator will be all set up. To launch it, click the Play button in your AVD dialog. It will take a moment, but the emulator will launch. Next up, we need to install the Java Development Kit. Open your browser and search for the Java Development Kit. You should be brought to a download page. Choose a platform for the installation, then download and run the installer. Now for Visual Studio Code. Head on over to code.visualstudio.com. Click on the Download for Windows button. Run the installer. Then launch the app. At this point, you need to install the Flutter extension. Click the extension button and search for Flutter. By installing Flutter, you'll also install the Dart extension. Once you have installed the Flutter and Dart extensions, you are ready to go to start developing Flutter apps. If in case you want to try out Android Studio for Flutter app development, you'll also need to install the Flutter and Dart plugins on Android Studio. You can find out more information by checking out Flutter's official documentation. Now to make sure you have a working Flutter install, go back to your terminal and type in the command Flutter Doctor. This will analyze your Flutter setup and inform you of any problems. You should investigate those problems. In our case, we're getting a couple errors. We need to do a couple things. First, we need to install the Android command line tools. And second, we need to accept the licenses. Return back to Android Studio and select the SDK Manager. Choose the SDK Tools tab, then check the Android SDK Command Line Tools option. Return back to the terminal. We'll clear the screen by typing CLS. Next, run the following command. Review and accept all the licenses. Finally, run Flutter Doctor one last time. At the end of this, you should see all green check marks. If you run into any issues during the install, feel free to leave a note in the comments or check out the Flutter development site. But you did the hard part. It all gets easier from here.